Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kathy, so glad to have you here. Today's practice is all about the shoulders and the hips. I'll be guiding you through a 60-minute yin practice where we will open up the major joints and stretch the muscles, especially in our upper and lower body. So for today's practice, you might need a few props, a strap, 1 or 2 blocks, and perhaps a bolster. So these are all optional, not mandatory to use in your practice, but it's good to have some of the props ready in case you want to reach for it during your practice. And if you need any suggestions, please check the description box below for some alternatives to these props that I just showed you. And if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment in the section below, and let me know what you liked, else you like to work on in future videos. And if you like to get more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button. I will be releasing weekly yoga videos just like these to guide you through your personal practice. And when you're ready, let's get started. So making your way down onto your backs, you're going to come down with your back flat on the ground. Option to slide a block underneath your hips. So finding your sacrum, that flat piece of bone right above the tailbone, balancing on top of your block. If you don't have a block, come straight onto the floor, keeping your knees bent, and just allow the knees to fall in towards each other. So we're going to take a moment here to close our eyes, get ready to center our body. We're going to stretch the feet forward, reaching the feet towards the front edge of your mat. If you're flat on your back, keep the knees bent. Allow the arms to come out beside your body, palms facing up. Take a moment to relax, allowing the shoulders to melt down towards the ground. Taking a few breaths in and out through the nose. Breathing all the way down through the front of the body into the hip flexors. Noticing there's anything running through your mind at this moment that might not serve you in your practice. Take this time to acknowledge those thoughts, and with the next breath, slowly exhale, releasing. Bring our attention and our awareness inwards. Begin to notice how our body is feeling today in this spot, in this moment. And as we come into physical stillness, we'll begin to turn our awareness to our breath. So notice how we're breathing. Take notice of the length, the depth of your breath. And see if you can breathe in a little bit deeper and a little bit longer with every exhalation. And we'll take 3 breaths together. So we're going to breathe in for a count of 5. Suspend the breath at the top of your inhale. And then slowly breathe out for 5 counts. So let's breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. And slowly exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly hold and exhale it out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold and suspend the breath. Slowly exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly let's release. Taking 3 more deep breaths at your own pace. Allow your inhales and exhales to slow down and expand. Using this breath to guide you through the next 60 minutes of our practice. And let's slowly start to reach the arms up. Take a big inhale, reaching up through your fingertips. Start to turn out the wrists. Wiggle your fingers. And we'll bend the knees. Start to walk the feet in towards us. Take an inhale. If you're on your block or bolster, pick up the hips, slide the block out from under, and we'll slowly come down with a flat back, block off to the side. Hugging both knees up and towards the chest. Give yourself a gentle rock from side to side. Now, if you have your strap, feel free to grab for your strap. We're going to pull the right knee up and towards our chest and slowly extend through the knee. You might want to slide your strap or towel or scarf, whatever you have, around the arches of the foot. Keep a flex through the ankle, kick up through the heel. Allow your left leg to point and extend forward. See how that feels for the hip flexors. If it's too intense, we're going to bend the bottom foot and place the foot on the ground. So one hand on either side of your strap. If you're grabbing onto the back of your legs, anywhere along this right leg is fine. So let's breathe in. As you inhale, allow the heel to kick up. Feel a little tension through the back of the leg. And as you exhale, we're going to bend the elbows slowly. Draw that right leg in towards the body. Allow your knee to have a slight bend so we're not locking up the joints. Continue to press your low back, your sacrum down towards the floor, maintaining that neutral spine. Taking a moment to relax the shoulders. Finding slow, deep breaths, guiding our bodies slowly into the posture. And we'll slowly release, allow the foot to come up. Taking both straps into the right hand, we're going to find external rotation through the right hip. Use as much or as little slack as you need to allow this foot to fall out to the side. We're going to slide a block underneath the shin if we need to prop up the floor. Left hand holds down onto the left hip, grounding through our hip bones. So setting yourself up in a comfortable position. Once you're ready, maybe our head starts to turn over, looking towards the opposite side. So gazing your head towards the left, away from the extended leg. Sending your breaths to the lower body towards the hips. So in our Yin practice, we typically hold the postures anywhere from a couple of breaths all the way up to 4, 5, or even 7 minutes long, depending on the posture. So the idea is to allow our bodies enough time to ease into the pose, and then holding that posture so that we're targeting the deeper layers of the tissues and the muscles. Slowly building flexibility and mobility. And let's take 5 more deep breaths on this side. Continue to breathe fully and completely. Inhaling, allowing the belly to rise, breathing all the way up into the rib cage. And as you exhale, breathing down, sending your breath past the hips and towards the toes. Soft and smooth inhales and exhales. And at the end of your next breath, we're going to bring our heads back into center. Slowly bending the right knee. Inhale, bring the leg, guiding it back up to the middle. Slowly release, place that foot down onto the ground. Bring the other foot in towards you. Arms out to the side. We're going to drop the knees from side to side. Windshield wiper the knees to the right, to the left. Gentle twist. And let's repeat on the other side. So coming back with a flat back. We're going to start with the left leg, bending the knee, kicking the foot up. You can loop a strap around the arches of the foot. Remember to flex the ankle, kicking the heel up. Bring a little bit of tension through the back of the calves. So holding onto your strap. See how this leg feels. Maybe we keep it bent or we extend it forward if our hip flexors are feeling good. Now let's breathe in, inhale, kicking the heel upwards. As we exhale, slowly bend your elbows, draw that left leg in towards the body. Maintain a slight bend through the knee. Shoulders are drawing down away from the ears. Long spine. Relaxed shoulders. Taking one more breath here. And at the end of your exhale, slowly release the foot, bring it back to center. Bring both straps into the left hand. We're going to drop this leg out over to the left side. So remember, if you have a block, you can place it underneath the shin or the thigh for some added support. And when you're ready, if the neck feels good, you can slowly start to turn the head, looking over towards the right side, past your right shoulders. Hand can come up for balance or ground down through the right hip for some stability. Softening through the shoulders, relaxing through the hips. Continue to breathe here, taking a moment to check in with our breaths. Make sure we're still breathing, finding that length and depth of breath. Continue to breathe. See if you can relax your body a little bit deeper with every exhale. Noticing if we're holding onto any tension, perhaps through the glutes or the shoulders. Consciously relaxing the areas of those bodies. Taking 5 more deep breaths wherever you are in your hip opener. Try to soften as much as you can into the lower body, allowing your breath to guide you. And slowly bring the head back into center if your head is over, looking towards the right side. Bring a bend to your knee, gently inhale, lift the leg back up into the middle. Release your strap. And we'll bend the knee, bring both feet planted on the ground. A few windshield wipers side to side. Drop the hips to the right, to the left. Bring a little twist to the body. Dropping your feet and knees over to the right side and across the right ankle over the left thigh. So using this top leg to bring a little bit of weight into the hips as we twist, looking over towards the opposite direction. So gaze past your left shoulder. And bring the head back into center, uncross, or switch sides. So windshield wiper, left to right. And once you get to the left side, pause here, taking your left ankle, cross it over the right leg. Use your knee, drop down, open up through the lower body. And maybe start to twist and rotate your shoulders, your head looking past the right fingertips. And let's inhale, bring ourselves back into center, release. Pull the knees in towards your chest, give yourself a hug, gently rock out and release through the sacrum, low back. A little counter stretch to our twists. Now we're going to turn over towards the right side, allow your knees to stack, fetal position, head resting on your arm. Pull the knees up, curl yourself up into a tight little ball. Rounding through the upper back, taking 3 deep breaths into the space between your shoulder blades. Breathing into the back of the heart. And we'll slowly release. Taking your hands down, give yourself a push. Let's inhale, come up. Sitting comfortably with ankle crossed in the seated position. Let's take an inhale, reach the arms up, breathe in, hands up towards the sky. As you exhale, right hand comes down to the floor or onto a block. Press down into the palm to lift the chest and open. And as you exhale, our top hand's going to start to reach towards the side, pressing down through your left sit bones, stretching out into the obliques. And inhale, let's come all the way up, switching sides. Plant your left hand down. Inhale the right arm up. Grow tall, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, we start to lean over to the left. Continue to ground down through your right sit bone, so try not to tip your hips up away from the floor. Press down and lean and reach through the fingers. One more breath. And let's inhale, rise all the way back. Taking your back foot, placing it forward, so we'll switch the cross of our legs. Sitting up in easy pose. And if you find this really uncomfortable for your hips, we can reach for a block. Place it underneath your sit bones. Allow your hips to be a little bit more elevated, higher than your knees. And this will make it a little bit more easy to fold through the hip crease. Let's come into some seated cat and cows. Taking a breath in, we'll lift up through the heart, spinal extension. As you exhale, our chin comes in towards our chest. Start to round through the spine, lean back. Inhale, breathing in, heart comes forward, long spine. Exhale, chin to chest. So I invite you to close the eyes here. Start to move with the rhythm of your own breath. Connecting each breath to movement. Inhale, heart lifts, cow pose. Exhale, chin in, start to round, flex, in cat. Start to move with the ebbs and flows of your breath for 3 more cycles. And finishing up, taking your last exhale. We'll come up into center, rocking forward. We're gonna sit back onto our toes. See how this feels. If it's too intense for the knees, we're gonna slide a block underneath our knees to bring the floor up towards us. So let's reach for our straps and get into some of our shoulder work. So I'm going to do some shoulder flossing here. So you're going to take your strap or your towel, reach a little bit wider than your full extension through the elbows. So what we're trying to do is bring the strap up overhead and back forward. Now the thing is, you want to make sure we're not compromising the shoulder movements by puffing out through the chest. So from the side, we want to maintain a neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Try not to puff out through the chest, create an arch through the back. If you think of your rib cage as window shutters, you want to keep them in, keep the core engaged. So let's give this a try, and you can find if your strap is too long or too short. So we're going to hold the strap, palms facing down. Inhale, we're going to reach the arms up. As we exhale, slowly bring the arms all the way behind. Now notice I'm not puffing out my chest to increase my range of motion, so be very honest with yourself here. If you need a little bit more room to move, widen your grip. If you're not feeling much in the shoulders, walk your hands in a little bit closer. So take a cycle here, moving through forwards and back. Adjusting your strap as needed to find the right intensity for you here. So inhale, our arm goes up overhead. Exhale, slowly comes back. Core is engaged. Ribs are pulling in. Spine stays neutral. And let's do this 2 or 3 more times, moving with your breath. So finding a few cycles, maybe going even slower, see if you can move a little bit slower here. Draw out each breath. And finishing up, we'll all come back to the front with our hands down. So sitting back on your feet, onto your toes, or in a comfortable position. Taking your strap, we'll inhale, reach the arms up overhead. This time we're going to tip over towards the right side. So keep the chest open, try not to let your top shoulder round forward. Pull the chest back and find a lateral side bend. We'll inhale, come up halfway. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, bend over to the right side. Option to stay here or start to bend your top elbow. So this elbow will start to bend and shoulder reaches back. Getting a nice stretch through the pecs, through the front of the body. One more breath here. And slowly release. Inhale, come back to center. And let's try the other side. So breathe in, lengthen, grow tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, we tip over to the left side. So start with both elbows extended, nice long arms overhead. Press your hips over to the right as you lean to the left. Inhale, we'll come up halfway. Exhale, bend one more time to the left side. Now, option to stay here, both arms extended, or we start to bend the top elbow. So bending the right elbow slightly, continue to open up through the top shoulder, lean that right shoulder back. One more breath here. And slowly release. Let's come back to center and place the strap off to the side. Great work with the shoulders. Now let's stretch out our wrists. So placing your palms down onto the ground, fingers spinning back towards you. Allow the elbows to point, elbow pits to point forward. Allow the arms to stay extended. Taking a breath in. Exhale, we're going to shift our weight back onto our hips. Continue to press the palms down into the floor. Press your forearms forward. And if it feels okay, try shifting your weight from side to side, moving to the right and to the left. Coming back into center. We'll slowly release, turning the hands over the other way. So taking the tops of the hand down flat on the ground. Palms will be facing up, fingers pointing in towards you. Now our range of motion is going to be a lot less mobile here. So start a little bit higher, leaning forward, shoulders over the wrists. Taking a breath in. As you exhale, slowly pull the hips back. See how that feels through the top of the hands, into the forearms. And again, you can gently lean from side to side if that feels okay for the wrist. So remember, we're looking for some sensations, but no sharp pain or any particular movement that will not allow us to breathe properly. So coming back to center when you're ready. Slowly lean forward and then release the wrists. Gently give your wrists a turn, going clockwise and counterclockwise. Nice and slowly. And we'll come forward into a table position. So grabbing for your blocks, we're going to place the blocks to the top of our mat. Take an inhale, your right toe extends back. On the exhale, we're going to place the right foot in between the hands, top of the mat. So see how it feels here. You can adjust the height of the block by flipping them up higher. If you're not using a block, you can place your hands onto the front thigh, holding yourself here. So let's just check our alignment in our low lunge. So we want our front knee to be stacked right over our ankle. Keep the joints aligned. Shoulders are relaxed, pulling away from the ears. Chest is lifted. Taking a few deep breaths, allowing your hips to melt and sink down. Full deep inhales and exhales. So where you should feel a stretch is in your left hip flexors. Option to lift the arms. If you like to add a little bit more intensity, we'll stretch the arms up. Interlace the fingers, release the index finger. Continue to extend through your elbows, point the fingers up. And let's slowly release. Bring both hands down to the inside of the front foot. So we're prepared for dragon pose. Our right foot will heel toe all the way to the outer edges of the mat. Hands can come onto blocks or onto the floor. Our toes will turn out to the side, so right toes pivot, right heel facing inward. Now here you can play with opening up the knee. See how it feels if you roll to the outer edges of the foot. Maybe the right knee falls out. If this is too much for the hips, keep the foot flat on the ground. So let's take an inhale here, left hand down onto the ground or onto a block, reaching up, finding an easy twist. Exhale, point the arm back, reach the fingertips towards your back toes. Option to stay here or pick up your back knee. Reaching for the toes, come into a quad stretch. So if you can't quite reach your toes, you can work on squeezing the hamstrings, pulling the heel in towards you. And slowly release the back foot. We're going to come down into our dragon pose, both hands down to the inside the front foot. So here, take a moment to get yourself comfortable. You can use blocks underneath your hands. You might stay up here the whole time or come down onto your forearms. If you have a bolster, you can get quite comfortable by sliding the bolster all the way to your torso and allow your body to come forward onto the pillow. So wherever you are, take a moment to set up. Make sure both knees and hips are comfortable. Allowing your head to get heavy, dropping the chin down towards your chest. Try to release as much as you can into the back of the neck. And as we come to the halfway point, notice if there's any adjustments you need to make. So maybe we go a little bit lower, or maybe we come up a little bit higher. If this knee is really bothering you, you can try placing the foot back down, closing up the knee joint. So take a moment to assess where our body is and how we're feeling, making those changes. And we'll come back to our dragon pose, taking another 10 to 15 deep breaths. Relaxing the back of the neck, dropping the head, getting heavy through the head and shoulders. Taking full inhales and exhales. Continue to allow your breath to be fluid. And at the end of your next breath, slowly start to come up onto your hands. If you're on your forearms, removing blocks out of the way, closing up the knee if your knee is open. Slowly heel toe the knee back into center. We're going to take our hands down to the floor, or you can reach for blocks. Slowly pull the hips back into half splits. Blocks can come underneath the hand for balance. So again, our ankle is flexed, toes are pointing upwards. We're finding some stretches through the back of the calves into the hamstrings. Pulling back through the sit bones, keeping the chest lifted, crown the head reaching forward. And if it feels okay for the legs, we can start to bow forward, hinging from the hips. Try to keep your spine long. So think of reaching the head forwards rather than curving the spine to fold. So think length and then depth. At the end of your next breath, inhale, let's look forward. Crawling our hands up back to the top of the mat. Taking the hands down, curl the toe, lift the back knee, we'll step back into a table position. And we'll extend the left knee back. Inhale, putting the left toes behind, step that foot forward, in between the hands, top of the mat. So coming up, you can rise up, placing your hands to your thighs, front knee over the ankles, or reach for your blocks, placing them underneath your fingertips. So stacking the joints, make sure our back knee is comfortable. Roll the mat over or place a towel underneath if you need a little bit of extra support. Lifting up through the chest. And roll the shoulders back and down, lifting up through the sternum. Taking a few more breaths in our low lunge. So option to keep your hands down. If you're balanced, you can try to reach the hands up, stretch and breathe in, reach up through your fingers, interlace, point the index finger. Continue to lift up through the torso. And as you exhale, find length through the back leg, breathing, softening the hips. And we'll slowly release, bring the hands down to the floor. So placing your hands to the inside of your left foot. We're going to heel toe the left foot to the outer edges of the mat. Allow your heel to point in, toes turn out to the side. See how it feels here. Our bodies might not be completely symmetrical on both sides, so what works for one side might not work for the other. It's all about experimenting and going with the feelings. So our foot can stay on the ground, or maybe we roll to the outer edges of the foot, allowing that left knee to drop out to the side. We'll take an easy twist, placing your right hand down on the ground. Inhale, twisting, lifting up. And we'll extend and point the hand back, reaching the hands towards your toes. Option to stay here, or we pick up the back knee, grabbing onto the foot. And if you're not quite there, you can work on squeezing the hamstrings, pulling the heel in towards you. And we'll take 3 breaths wherever you are. And slowly release the foot, coming back into center. So we're going to come into our full dragon pose. So make sure you're comfortable, you have everything you need. Grabbing for 1 or maybe even 2 blocks, placing it underneath your forearms for support. Or you might like to place one underneath your forehead. So lots of different setups here to get yourself comfortable and supported. And the important thing is we're using as little effort as possible in this posture, giving way to gravity and just the weight of our bodies to help us deepen into the stretch. Maintaining softness in the breathing. Equal length inhales and exhales. And as we come to the halfway point, take a moment to notice how our legs are doing. If you need to make any adjustments, take the time to move your hips, move your knees, or come into a different position in the arms. And when you're ready, we'll come back down, take another 10 to 15 deep breaths. Try to relax the back of the head by dropping the chin down towards your chest. Slowly, we'll start to come out of our posture. Give yourself a little push. If you're on your forearms, it's inhale up to rise. If your knee is open, we'll gently close the knee, bring it back into center, heel toe the foot back to the middle, hands onto the floor or blocks. Finding balance on each side, we'll slowly pull our hips back, flex the ankle, allow the toes to point upwards. Kicking forward, digging down, pulling the sit bones towards the back of the room. So try not to collapse all the way down. So we don't want to sit back on the heels. We're actually looking for length in the backs of the legs. And that's why we want to flex our ankles, continue to kick the heel forward, and at the same time pulling our sit bones back. So stretching into the back of the calves and to the backs of the hamstrings. And if you're feeling pretty comfortable, try a fold, hinging from your hip crease, coming down flat back. Crown the head reaching forwards. Find a bend. Flex through the hips. And we'll inhale, look forward, crawling up to the top of the mat. Curl your toes, lift the back knee. We're going to come into an easy downward facing dog. So slowly walk the feet back, lifting the hips, pedal it out. So take this time to stretch out into your backs, alternating, dropping the heels side to side. Stretch out your toes, pressing the heels down. We're going to walk ourselves forward, draping in a ragdoll position. We're going to reach the arms back, interlace the fingers, or grab onto your wrists. Taking an inhale, we'll lift the arms up overhead. As we exhale, drop and release the shoulders. Give a generous bend to your knees. Allow your belly to rest over the thighs. You can sway from side to side, or not up and down. And we'll release the hands gently back onto the floor. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, bring our knees back down onto the ground. And we'll make our way down onto our bellies. Make sure you have enough space to move around. Coming down onto the stomach. We're going to place the right ear down onto the floor. Right arm will stretch out to the side. Then give ourselves a push. Rolling onto the side of our body. Top leg will swing up and over. Stretching into the chest, into the pecs, and into the shoulders. So your foot can rest onto a block, or you can stay on your tippy toes. Option to take your top hand, reach that left arm around, place it to your low back or sacrum. Taking 5 more deep breaths on your right side. And as we begin to release, slowly bring your left arm back onto the floor. Gently close up the knee And we'll slowly roll back onto our belly into a prone position. Stacking the hands, resting your chin over your hands, taking a few breaths here in a neutral spine position. Try not to take too many sudden movements, preserving the stretch in our bodies. And we'll come to the other side. So take your left ear to the floor. Left arm will come out to the side. We're going to roll ourselves onto that bottom left shoulder. So using your hand as a guide to push yourself deeper or come out of the posture. Option to take your top leg, bend the knee, drop it back behind you, landing on the floor on your toes, or you can place the foot flat on the ground. So see how that feels. Make sure your head is comfortable. If your head is lifted off the ground, consider sliding a block underneath to raise the floor towards you. I'm gonna make sure our neck is as comfortable and supported as possible in this posture. Finding relaxation, not tension in the upper body. And if you're balanced, maybe taking the top hand, reach the right arm back, placing it towards your low back or sacrum behind you. Taking a few more deep breaths. Finding release in the shoulders with every exhale taken. Slowly we'll start to release. Bring your back hand forward if you're in a bind, allowing your top leg to close through the hip crease, and we'll gently roll back onto our bellies. Bring the chin over stacked hands or stacked fists. Taking a few breaths here in the neutral spine. And when you're ready, we'll give ourselves a push and we'll flip over onto our backs. So when you're ready, coming down into a supine position, we'll pull the knees up in towards our chest, grabbing for your toes or the arches of the feet. Allow your knees to get wide. You can play with extending through one knee and the other, rocking forwards and back in your happy baby. Taking the time to make any movements forwards and back or side to side. Anything you need before we come into Shavasana or corpse pose. And when you're ready, walk the feet to the edges of your mat. Palms out beside the body, facing upwards. Gently closing the eyes. Relaxing the forehead, relaxing the jaws. Now let's slowly start to turn out our wrists and our ankles. Bring some movement into the fingers and toes. Take your head from side to side. Take a deep breath in, stretch your arms up overhead. Inhale. Get long in the body. Pulling the knees in towards your chest. Exhale, hug the knees in, side to side. And when you're ready, helping yourself up, and we'll take a seated position, facing forwards in easy pose, sitting up with ankles crossed. Let's take a deep breath in together. Inhale, sweep the arms up, hands together. Exhale, palms come down, thumb in front of the sternum. Let's close our practice with one breath, share it together. Inhale through your nose, fill the belly. Open the mouth, deep exhale. Breathing it all out. Any residual tension in the body. Thank you so much, yogis, for practicing with me. I hope you found a little bit more openness and grounding through the body, especially in those tighter areas of our body, such as our hips and shoulders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for future videos. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you and namaste.